morning, good afternoon, a very good evening to you. We have got a lovely lady Deborah with us. A very warm welcome to you, Deborah.
Thank you
So
so
nice of
much.
you,
It's an
so nice
honor to
of
be
you for
here.
being with us. Please, uh, before I proceed, I would, my listener would certainly love to know your small introduction, which you can cover in few seconds.
You know, there's a short professional history. I've been consulting to business owners for over 40 years, over 4 continents on strategic and financial matters, and then have moved on to a new era in my life.
Good, good. And here is a small introduction which you have sent me. I would love to read for my listeners. The person who thinks about the wise money kids with more than 40 years consulting privately owned small and medium businesses across 4 continents. Great, my God, 4 continents. Deborah has helped countless owners grow, boost profitability, and multiply their company's value. She distilled those real world dreams into her book, Success in Small Business, celebrating the hope, hard work, and unique path for everyday entrepreneur. Now, as a Grandma Deb, she has turned her focus to the next generation because today's kids see money as free, easy to spend, and not worth learning about, while the parents they struggle to explain the basics. Now get ready to be inspired. Grandma Deb's mission is to teach every child how to earn it, save it, and spend it wisely, giving families the practical tools they need for lifelong financial confidence. Great. Once again, a very warm welcome to you, Deborah. We are very proud of you that you are thinking for the next generation. But before you say anything, let me come to the first question. And everyone wants to know, they are anxious to know that please, please, please Deborah, tell us little about your professional history. Platform is yours. Please.
Well, in all of my consulting with businesses, as I say, covering 4 continents, I learned 5 critical success factors for these owners of businesses. The first one is they need to remember and learn who they are, what's important to them as individuals, for their family, for themselves, for their future. And those who knew that were more successful than those who hadn't really thought it through. Um, what type of personality they had, what they wanted out of business. And the second factor that I learned is they had to have courage. And they all had this courage to make mistakes, courage to try new things, courage to pull the plug when they needed to pull it. And that those people were also more successful than others. The third item was their ability to communicate with employees, with those who they were critical operators for them, and they became the leaders of the orchestra or the leader of the small band who could direct rather than do everything themselves. And the fourth element was money, which we'll talk about again. But not only did they need access to money, they needed to understand when they were in trouble, to be able to calculate it, to have a dashboard with their critical factors on a timely basis. And those things, from a very practical perspective, made them successful. And the fifth one was growth. You either grow or die in business until you're done and you want a different strategy, but mostly you have to do that. Otherwise, somebody else will take your place. And so my clients concentrated on those five critical areas on a day-to-day basis. And that's what I tried to impart to all of them. And finally, I made them see the mountain from far away. So where I spent a lot of my time in the northwest of the US, there's a mountain, Mount Rainier, which is over 14,000 feet. It's the fifth largest in the continental United States. And when you look at it far away, 50, 100K away, you could see the clouds, and you could see where they were moving, and you can see the majesty. But if you stood at the base of the clouds, you see almost nothing of the majesty. You see a little forest and a little river and a path that simply leads up somewhere. And business is very much the same. They have to step away from it, 50K away, on a fishing trip to see what's going on in the business, to get away from it and get a perspective. And if you're too close to it and you're in the middle of all the fires, you cannot see your way out. And so we worked on all of those features over my 40 years.
Great, great. What a journey. My God. In last 40 years, you have helped so many people to establish their business, to settle them, and whatnot. Well, as you said that you for 40 years you help entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
Deborah, please tell us what made you to shift from those entrepreneurs to small children? What
That's
made you?
that's a super question. I got to the point where I was able to spend time with my grandchildren and lots of other kids. And I discovered they didn't have a good feel about money, about its value, about what it could buy and what it was worth. And the pivotal moment for me was when a group of 12-year-olds were given $20 bills, and they ran to the candy counter and threw the money in the counter and told the clerk, "Give me as much candy as this will buy." And I found they had no feel for what the $20 was worth, what the candy cost, and they didn't have a lot of interest in learning that information. And it wasn't their fault, and it isn't their parents' fault, but it was a reality. And so at that point, I thought, what could I do in order to communicate to as many families as possible and to improve on that education? Because the school districts don't teach it. Parents at home don't have a lot of confidence to teach it. And so the first book and the second book, which is in process, was the start of that training. And that's what got me to the point we are today.
Oh, great. So please tell us more about the second book which is coming.
So the first book is designed very introductory for a 4 to 6 or 8-year-old. But the second book starts teaching about the real financial principles. And so we have to explain to these kids what a bank is for. That becomes easy. But then we have to explain debit cards, credit cards, loans, and investments. And in a digital economy where they don't see any bills, they don't see any coins, it's very hard for anyone to explain how does a debit card work? It must be just unlimited money because it's just tap and go, isn't it? And so within a story and within a small boy's experience and his sister, they learn that it's not unlimited. It sits somewhere and it pays bills and it has its limits. So those are the teaching points in the second book.
Oh, great. Very interesting. Wow. I love them. Yes, you are right. Deborah, the children, according to me, I think that they learn fast, no doubt, provided their parents teach them well or they spare enough time for them. But I don't see that they can do it. But still, how do you say, what are your views that parents are not the one who are enough for the children to tell about the financial freedom?
It still will fall to the parents to do as much as they can because there aren't a lot of other structures for kids to learn this. And parents know more than they think they know. They know that they pay bills every week and they know that money comes in and sometimes there's enough to go out and sometimes there's a little extra that's called savings for big items or unexpected items. And really, that's all the kids need to learn very early on.
Very
Parents are
true.
hesitant because they don't want to stress the kids out when the parents are stressed out. But the reality is the kids know what's going on, so you might as well talk about it. And what I've seen works are creating teachable moments where the parents can plan the discussion. So for going to the grocery store, for instance, it becomes a teachable moment. Do we buy the big box of cereal or the little box of cereal? And if we buy two little boxes, we spent more than the big box. So it also becomes a math skill at the same time. So parents can contribute a lot to the process.
Yes, you are right. You, you even as far as I understand, even the parents either they don't have time, either they don't have interest, or they themselves do not know the basics of investment.
Right.
Believe me, once I asked a parent, father and mother both, that do you know the difference between savings and investment? They said no.
Oh,
So these are the one of the basic requirement, at least I think that parents must know. Let me quote a small example from Warren Buffett, who said that he started investment at the age of 6 and still he was late.
and
So,
what I've tried to simplify, the word savings is an interesting word. In most people's minds, they simply set it aside, and that's
right?
called savings. But I can also stretch that and say savings can be an investment. I take the money, I put it somewhere else, but it's still a savings, a methodology of saving and growing my savings. And so to simplify things, I roll it all into one term because the word investment is sometimes a scary word. As you say, it's not well understood, and people think that it's bad. But then they also don't understand risk versus reward, which is a concept that is not really discussed even for investments. And that's the final chapter in the book. There's risk and there's reward, and sometimes they go hand in hand or in opposite hands. And we need to understand the risks as well.
Right. And unfortunately, this is the risk that it goes on as the children grow.
Right.
Let me share one example. Many of my friends, they when they about 20 years back when they got retired, what they did, they whatever money that they had, they kept in the fixed deposit. At that time, fixed deposit was paying 5 or 6% interest, and they were thinking that, oh, it's so big. Just imagine 5 6% interest 20 years back. Okay, the same amount they are getting today,
Mm,
they can't buy even 1/10 of what they were able to buy.
right.
Yes.
And that starts becoming a very sophisticated analysis. So
Mm-hmm.
my philosophy is if we can start the kids young with the basics, then as they're introduced to new concepts, such as the appreciation or inflation concept, they can build on that and build on what they already know and then understand these new concepts much easier than the adults now are finding the understanding of these concepts.
Very correct. Yes, yes, yes. Well, in a very short time, you have discussed so many things that all the parents need to know it. Yes. Anyway, I promise you that I will apply all the teaching that you have just mentioned to my grandchildren. I don't know whether their parents will pay attention or not. But well, let me change my gear to a different direction. And here is a rapid fire session which I would love to answer in short. And if time permits, we will go for the next few other questions. But here is the first question for you that Deborah, why did you choose the pen name that is the Grandma Deb? What is the reason?
Well, I tell you, when I decided to have this passion and move away from business, I think the name needed to change the whole perspective from
Hmm.
adult education to children education. And I learned from my grandkids. The editor for the first book was 8 years old, and 8 years old, they don't know how to lie. They tell you exactly what they're thinking. He was the best editor ever and helped me write that first book and realized he was somewhat of a primary character.
Right, right.
So grandma seemed to
Right.
be appropriate.
Just now you told that the children should think of debit card, credit card, bank balance, go to bank, and so on. Whereas, as I understand, they should think of counting coins, dollar bills, as it is discussed in the many other children's book.
Right.
Why do you say so, Deborah?
And I saw those same children's books, and they concentrate on counting coins and counting dollars. And in American money, the penny is bigger than the dime, and the nickel is, bigger than the dime. Makes no sense whatsoever. But in other countries like Australia, coins are rarely seen. We had an American visitor come for 2 weeks. She never saw what a dollar bill looked like. She'd never held the money. It's not used. And in a digital economy, it's not necessary anymore. So I think the newest generation will not grow up with physical coins and dollars. They're expensive to make, they're expensive to distribute and to pull back. So it's not sure that they make any sense. And if I have a limited amount of time to educate someone, I'm not going to spend my time in something that will disappear in their lifetime.
Very correct. Yes, it's always better that they should be taught what's coming in future. Well, Deborah, many parents have asked me that to ask you a question, and that is, at what age the children should be taught for the to get the training for this financial freedom, money, investment, and all these things.
I've discovered that it varies on the child. Some children are interested at 4 years old. Some have
Oh, great.
no interest at all at 4 years old. But the 4 year old will in fact count coins. They like to count. They're learning to count. So this is one, literally one, two, three, four, five, and I have 10, and that makes sense. At an older age, they go from counting to um, wanting more, and they know
Mhm,
that now I have 15 of something. I don't care what. And last week I only had 10. And so that becomes the next level in very simple education. And then the next level, we're talking 8 years old now.
mhm,
Now they're willing to wait for it. So I have 10, but I want to buy something that costs 15. And so they know that maybe between now and some other time, they'll get the
mhm.
15 and then they'll be able to get what they want. And that in and of itself is huge, to know that you have to plan and there's a bit of math involved. And so next week you might have 15. So, but even at counting, I don't care if they count the quarters and the dimes and the nickels and that's all one number. It doesn't matter. They don't have to learn the difference between those. They just like to count and stack things. And that's the beginning exercise.
Yes. And the way you said that children would start thinking or about this finance at the age of 4, at the age of 6, at the age of 10, no doubt. Yes, they should. But how can you help the all my listener to get motivated for the parents? How the parents should be motivated so that they will spare time for their children? What would be your advice?
They have to spend the time, yes,
Mhm,
but the first thing they can do, even at 8 years old, is they can open a bank account, which becomes very
good.
scary, by the way, because with a bank account, even for a child, they can have a debit card.
Mhm,
And, and so they can tap and go just like their parents. And then they open the app and see, oh, it went down because I went and tap and go and I spent some
mhm,
money. So now the kids are actually able to learn on their own without their
mhm,
parents, make a mistake because they're going to tap and there won't be anything left in their account. But it's not an a mistake that they can come back from that mistake. It's not a big
mhm.
deal, but it's a great learning exercise. So the
Yes.
parents have to play their role and
Mhm.
give a little and let the kids make their own mistakes and learn on their own then.
So you told about the debit card, bank account. Yes. Why didn't you tell something more that what parents should take care of and parents should do something in this direction? What would be your advice?
So one of the discussion points is whether parents should give an allowance or not.
Great.
And there's two schools of thought. One school is everything that's done at home is for the family as a whole, and the money is for a family of a whole. And so we're not going to pay our children to do chores. That's
Hmm.
fair enough. But the other school of thought is if I learn that I do something and I earn money, now I'm able to make my own decision as to how to spend that money or save it or invest it. And so the parent has given again the child the opportunity to make
Right.
decisions.
Very correct. So, if I have understood correctly, do you want to say that even if the child is of 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, or 12 years, the most important part is give the opportunity. Is it so? Or would you like to say something else?
Give them an opportunity, open the door for them, let them make some decisions on their own. But the parents have to open that door first. They have to give them something to work with and make their own decisions. So if a child says, I want to buy something, and the parent thinks it's a stupid idea, that let them buy it, and the child will discover it was a stupid idea, which is
Hmm.
much better learning opportunity than the parent telling them no, because they don't learn anything from that. They
Right,
learn from
right.
their own mistakes.
So have you seen the children that just now you told that they literally throw money in front of the shopkeeper and say, give me whatever is available. That is the one scenario. On the other scenario, those children who are learned, who are disciplined, who know the value of money, do you see the difference? If yes, what how the journey should be?
It's an unbelievable difference. One has no, however, they're dependent on their parents. They
Hmm.
ask the parents for money frequently, and the parent
Hmm.
has to say no if they don't have it, or they just give it away with no value associated with it. But the other child, what I've seen is they plan and they start saving because they want a big toy of some sort that clearly they don't have enough money for. And so they wait, which is a huge skill in order to wait rather than this immediate gratification from the other side. And they're able to wait, and by the time they have the money, they may not, in fact, want the toy. And so they've set their standards even higher for something bigger, or for something for the family, or for their sister, rather than for themselves. So it broadens their scope tremendously.
Right. Yes, very correct. And today in this session, you have discussed so many areas of savings, investment, finance, money. Yes, no doubt about it. But still, can you please tell, in short, that how the parents should start?
They need to start, to start with is, do you think money grows on trees?
Mm.
Well, what I discovered is the kids don't understand that question. They've never heard that. We've all heard it. We've heard that statement, but kids haven't heard it. And so when you say, do you think money grows on trees? The child envisions this tree with money on it. And the response to that from the child is, well, I've never seen this tree. Is there such a tree? That gives the parents the opportunity to discuss, no, money doesn't grow on trees. I go out, I earn it, I bring it home, I buy groceries, I buy things for you, and sometimes I can put some aside for other purposes. But money doesn't grow on trees. And that's a moment, a teachable moment for the children. Then they stop asking for money. Now I have to give them the allowance so they can use it as they see fit. But yes, parents need to make the time and find the opportunities. Parents take their kids grocery shopping all the time, and that becomes the opportunity for a teachable moment. Or kids make a list out for Santa. I want all of these things. And that becomes a teachable moment by the parents because they know the answer before they open their mouth. No, you can't have everything on your list. So, how are we going to teach that to the children? And they have to grab those moments.
Very correct. Yes, it's the responsibility of the parents to grab that moment and spare some time for their children. Well, wow. In just such few short time, you have discussed so many things, And perhaps this is one of the burning issue that every parents must look into. Well, Deborah, today we have discovered the strong financial habits that can start as early as the toddler years, and that simple, fun lesson in earning, saving, and wise spending truly shape the child's future. Deborah, oh, Deborah, Grandma Deb, thank you for your generosity, your decades of hard earned wisdom, and for making the money lessons feel approachable and exciting for the every family.
Thank you so
Let's
much.
let's carry this energy home. Start one small money conversation with a child that this week and watch their eyes light up with understanding. The next generation's financial freedom begins with us right now. And here is a wonderful lady who told a lot about this. Please remember this, please apply it, and please, Deborah,
Thank
please
you.
go ahead. What would be your final message to all my listeners?
I think you've said it best. It's important that the parents take a role, a strong role, and keep it top of mind, not be afraid to talk about it, and the children will respond beyond belief.
Yes, very correct. They will. But main is the parents, they must play, act, take interest, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, so time is already over. Still, I have got hundreds of questions to be asked, but I can't. But I will certainly, on behalf of this platform, request you, please do spare time as and when we need, because today's conversation is perhaps one of the best conversations that I have. On behalf of Almighty God, I sincerely pray to give you all wisdom, strength, courage, money, time, power, everything, so that the way you are teaching, preaching, and spreading the message for this investment, please keep it on, please keep it on, please keep it on. So nice of you, Deborah. We say namaste, a big namaste to you. May God bless you.
Together we are global speakers talk.